Alright YouTubers, Uncle Dave from DC's Adventures. I'm making a quick video here for one of my buddies, a fellow YouTuber, Eye on Health. I sent him a ferro rod a little ways back, and he still just wanted to see if I could do a quick video on how I might light a fire with my ferro rod, just so he really gets the idea before he goes out in the woods. So I'm going to show him an easy technique. I know there's lots of different tinders you can use to do this, but he's in Pennsylvania, so he should be able to easily find the legendary birch tree, which we all know is really a great asset for making fire. And here we are, right here. I've collected ourselves a piece of birch. This actually came from a dead tree that was already on the ground, so I could cut all the way down and pull off the whole piece. But you know, if you're just collecting from a live tree, you just want to pull off thin layers and try not to go all the way around the tree, because that can kill the tree. But here we are. I got my piece of birch here. Got a small pile of sticks off to the side. We got our Mora Classic #1, and you can do this and just scrape the back of your knife, and you'll start getting some stuff there, which that could be enough to light it. But as long as you keep your knife razor sharp, you should be able to do some little, like, paper thin, even thinner slices, which is what I like to do. Usually a bunch of these will result in a flame really quick. And there's also a couple ways here you can strike your ferro rod too, because guys who are really good with their ferro rod are probably going to strike it from a distance and still only need one strike, and that way their ferro rod's going to last a lot longer. So it's a good idea to learn how to do that. But you can obviously just rough scrape your ferro rod and get a flame pretty easily. Alright, can't imagine that wouldn't light. The mosquitoes are horrific out here right now, guys. So alright, one shot, one take. Let's see. First we're going to try it like this. Well, see, you can always do that, but a lot of times that results in you wasting a lot of your ferro rod anyways. See, if you just scrape it like that, it's going to start up pretty easily. Of course, when you use your ferro rod like that in a scraping motion, you're taking a lot more off of it, and your ferro rod's not going to last a long time. Really, you got to get really good at preparing your tinder, and you'll just have to use just a little piece of it, you know? You only have to use a little piece of it, and you can make your ferro rod last for, you know, an extra 3,000 or 4,000 strikes if you get really good at it. But for a beginner like my buddy here, I'd say just get used to scraping it, because your real practice is going to be in processing tinder. And once you get really good at processing tinder and you spend the times processing tinder, you'll be able to strike it with just really short, small strikes. But don't worry about that right now while you're starting. You need to just worry about learning how to use the tool properly and how to actually get a fire going with it. So, put these sticks here. And there we go. Pick you guys up. A little birch there, and obviously you start with sticks that are super small, and then move your way up, and you should have a fire that gets going pretty hot. As you can see, I put big logs on the side of my fire to start burning those slowly. So I have a couple big logs usually burning in my fire that are burning slowly, and then I have all the actual firewood in the middle that I'm burning. This is my new fire pit for you guys. Haven't seen it. there's a big piece of stone here, and I'm going to set up some other stuff for cooking. I'll show you. There's going to be a separate video, but I've set up a new cooking area for baking bread and cooking pizza and stuff. So that'll be another video, guys. Thanks for joining me once again. I hope this kind of cleared up how to use your ferro rod, buddy, and enjoy this day hike you're about to go on. Uncle Dave with DC's Adventures. See you guys in the next video. Alright, now if you don't have any birch bark available to you, and I know guys are going to give me crap, you can also find lots of other things to use as tinder. I don't particularly like the light fluffy tinders that you can strike easily because they burn too fast. And last night, it's been raining for the last couple days, so the second half of this video we're going to try to use some fat wood. We're going to harvest off this tree, and we're going to have a preying on me right now, so we're going to cut off this branch. And usually any of these really thick trees that have all these gnarly branches on them, you just find a branch that's not completely bare. It needs to have some bark on it, but it's better if it's some bark and then gets dry and barkless towards the end, and then cut it as close to the tree as you can get it, because that's where the most sap is going to be, right at the joint between the tree and the branch. So I'm going to go in there and hack that out, and then we'll go to fireside and process it down and see if we can get a fire going with a ferro rod with that. Alright, this should be a pretty good one. See, and then I'm going to break it down, because underneath right here is where the best stuff is going to be. So we want that stuff close to the tree, which we didn't really get it. Yeah, you can see the darker color in there. That's the stuff we wanted, that was underneath the branch. That should work. And the rest of the branch should be enough wood to start the whole fire with. So it's kind of a one-stick pine fire. Alright, here we are. Here's the piece that came off the bottom there. You can see the different color. I mean, it goes from light to a light tan color to like an orange to almost a red, and those dark oily red spots in the wood right underneath the bark is going to be the spots where the most sap is, and that's what's going to help get this fire going. So I'm going to scrape this down. This is why it's really important to have a knife. Whatever survival knife or one knife you're carrying, it needs to have a really sharp 90-degree spine. Even my more classic that I put a 90-degree spine on, it'll spark a ferro rod, but it's not sharp enough to do what I'm about to do, which is like a scraping technique. The scraping technique is how you're going to get the really fine dust out of this for ignition with your ferro rod. See, that's working really good. That's working really good already. So I'm going to scrape this down for a second, and I'll bring you guys back when I have a decent pile, and I'll show you what it consists of. Alright, there we go. And you can never over prepare, okay? This is probably under preparing, but I think I have this under control personally. But if you're just beginning, you might want to do a pile twice the size. But I did the fine shavings, which were produced by the 90-degree angle on the back of the spine of the knife, and then I incorporated small little feather sticks that are still from the really pine pitchy part of the branch that we cut off. So all this stuff should be super highly flammable. And like I said, it's been raining. Last night we got, I don't know, like 5 or 6 inches of rain, something crazy. It's like flooding down at the river. So it's been raining really hard the last 24 hours, and this is really hard to get a fire going. Well, with the birch bark, I would have a fire going already. It would have taken a second. But everybody doesn't have birch bark always, and you know, this is a really good technique, and hopefully it works. So let's bring it down to the fire lay over there, and we'll put a spark to it and see if we can get a fire going. Hopefully it goes easily. Alright, and here we are, guys. We got our board here. Here are our shavings. I got this here just in case we have to make more shavings once we get it going, because that's our pile of sticks right there. And that pile of sticks over there is soaking wet. I'm also using the ferro rod today that I usually send out to people, because the guy who I'm making this video for, this is the exact ferro rod that he has. Again, the Bushcraft Black by Mora. White pine is the tree. That's probably the most. That's our state tree here in Maine, is the white pine. It's has 5 needles and whorls of 5, and it's pretty sappy. It's not the sappiest of trees, but it's pretty good. So let's try to get this thing lit. Let's get this rock out of the way so I don't nick my Mora knife on it. So you can do that, but I think the best route to go on this stuff is just like that. Well, that wasn't bad, huh, guys? But it's gonna go out fairly quick, because this fireboard kind of sucks, actually. See, I should have done a lot more shavings, guys, because everything is so wet. It looks like it is lighting. When you use birch bark and pine, the reason why it works so well is because of the saps that are inside of them. And saps also burn a lot hotter than just regular wood, so that's why you get the drying action, and that's why it's burning right through that wet wood. I'm going to try to get some more shavings here going, build this fire up, but it looks like it's going to stay lit, actually. The twigs are lit. The twigs on top of it are lit. So I keep on adding stuff here. Just keep on adding shavings, you know. The shavings will at least burn if the other stuff's too wet. So there we go. Ferro Rod Fire with fat wood. And I'm gonna have some coffee and some oatmeal now. There we go. It's not a bad fire for a fat wood ferro fire with the ferro rod. And as you can see, I mean, the sticks that I have in there now aren't even dry. A lot of water is still coming out of those. I cut those only a couple weeks ago, and as long as you have a really good hot coal base, you know, that's why you want to make sure when you're building the beginning of your fire that you really work on it hard, because those coals are what's going to make it possible to burn all the difficult wood you have around you. And you know, it's been raining for a day and a half now, tons of rain, everything soaked, and we just lit that fire with a piece of pine wood and a ferro rod. So once again, thank you for joining me. Eye on health. See you out on the trail, buddy. And I'll see you guys all on the next video.